I didn't realize I was becoming the unreliable one until 3 people were disappointed in me in the same day. That Saturday wasn't dramatic. No one yelled, no one cut me off, but I had committed to 3 different things without noticing they were all happening within hours of each other. A friend's birthday lunch, helping someone move apartments, a work event I had said yes to out of obligation more than desire. I found out they overlapped on Friday night when I finally opened my messages and tried to piece together my weekend. I canceled the move, I showed up late to the lunch, I skipped the work thing entirely. Everyone said it was fine, and maybe it was, but something shifted. I could feel it. Or maybe it was just the way I saw myself in that moment. I wasn't dependable. I wasn't intentional. I was just reacting to whatever felt loudest at the time. That week forced me to admit something I had been ignoring for a long time. I wasn't busy because my life was important. I was busy because I didn't know how to pause. For years, I had been waking up already behind. Before my feet touched the floor, my mind was racing. Messages unanswered, deadlines approaching, plans I half remembered making. I would scroll through notifications, still in bed, heart slightly elevated, trying to calculate what needed immediate damage control. My days weren't designed, they were negotiated in real time. If someone asked for help, I said yes automatically. If something felt urgent, it jumped to the front of the line. If I felt guilty, I overcommitted to make it go away. I told myself I was being helpful and flexible. In reality, I was just afraid of disappointing anyone in the moment, even if it meant disappointing everyone later. That Saturday was uncomfortable because it exposed the pattern. I wasn't overwhelmed because life was impossible. I was overwhelmed because I had no filter. The Monday after that weekend, I bought a plain notebook. No system, no aesthetic, just paper. I started writing down everything. Not in categories, not organized, just everything that was taking up space in my head. Tasks, requests, ideas, worries. Loose thoughts that would usually follow me around all day. The effect was almost immediate. Once something was on paper, it stopped circling. I didn't have to rehearse it mentally to make sure I wouldn't forget. I could close the notebook and trust that it was contained. I hadn't realized how much energy I was spending trying to remember things. At night, instead of scrolling until I fell asleep, I started outlining the next day. Nothing rigid, just enough direction that I wasn't waking up to chaos. If I had 3 things that mattered, I wrote them down. If a thought surfaced at midnight, I put it in my phone immediately, instead of letting it echo in my head. Capturing it was enough to quiet it. I began noticing that my environment mirrored my mental state. When my kitchen was a disaster, I was avoiding something. When my desk was buried, my thoughts were too. So I stopped leaving things for later. I washed the pan while the food was still cooking. I wiped the counter before the coffee cooled. Individually, it took seconds. Collectively, it prevented that heavy feeling of facing a mess that felt bigger than it was. It wasn't about being tidy, it was about reducing friction. I hung a physical calendar on my wall where I couldn't ignore it, a visible month at a glance. When I saw commitments stacked too tightly, it was harder to pretend I had capacity. Saying yes became less impulsive when the evidence of my schedule was literally in front of me. Mornings changed in smaller ways too. I stopped standing in front of my closet debating outfits as if the decision carried meaning. I put together combinations ahead of time, not because it was minimalist or aesthetic, but because I was tired of wasting attention on something that didn't deserve it. I had been draining decision-making energy before the day even started.
The same logic applied to ideas. If something came to mind and I didn't capture it immediately, it would either disappear or linger unfinished. So I started using my phone as an external brain, a sentence in the Notes app, a quick voice memo in the car, anything to prevent the quiet anxiety of trying to remember later. But the harder shift wasn't logistical, it was social. I had to learn that availability is not the same thing as loyalty. There were weekends when I needed silence more than plans. I began saying no before resentment built up. Sometimes I canceled when I realized I had stretched myself thin. It felt uncomfortable at first. I worried people would think I didn't care, but showing up half present was its own form of dishonesty. I realized something that felt almost confrontational. Being overwhelmed wasn't a personality trait, it was a boundary problem. Goals shifted too. I used to create vague ambitions that sounded impressive and guaranteed disappointment. Now I choose 1 or 2 concrete things each week, specific enough to complete, flexible enough to adjust. Finishing something small feels different than endlessly planning something big. On Sunday evenings, I spend 20 minutes reviewing the week, not performing productivity, just noticing what worked, what slipped, where I said yes too quickly, where I avoided something. Without that pause, weeks blur together and patterns hide. None of this turned me into someone perfectly organized. I still misjudge my capacity sometimes. I still leave dishes longer than I intend to. But I no longer wake up in quiet panic. I'm not constantly trying to repair yesterday's neglect.
The difference isn't that I do more, it's that I decide more carefully. There's a version of organization that looks impressive online. Color-coded routines, perfectly arranged planners, systems within systems. I used to think that was the goal. Now I understand that the goal is much quieter. It's not about optimizing every hour. It's about protecting enough space so that when something matters, you have the energy to show up for it. I don't need my life to look efficient. I need it to feel sustainable. The structure I've built isn't rigid, it bends when it needs to, but it holds enough shape that I'm not constantly rebuilding from scratch. I'm not living in damage control anymore. And the most surprising part is how much energy was trapped in the act of keeping track of everything. Once I stopped carrying it all mentally, there was room to listen, room to focus, room to be present with the people who deserve more than a distracted version of me. Organization, at least the way I understand it now, isn't about control, it's about capacity. It's about making sure the life you're building is one you can actually inhabit. I used to wake up already behind. Now I wake up knowing what matters. And that difference is quieter than I expected, but far more stable than the chaos I used to mistake for productivity.